Sometimes the greatest discoveries happen when you're looking for something else entirely. Imagine a team of archaeologists, their boots kicking up the dry, sun-baked dust of the eastern Mediterranean. They were following old maps, half-forgotten chronicles, that hinted at a small Crusader outpost, maybe a watchtower, or a minor fort. They expected to find a few foundation stones, perhaps some pottery shards, the usual breadcrumbs of history. What they found instead was something that defied all expectations, something that literally rewrote the maps they were holding. It was a discovery that would send shockwaves through the world of medieval history, a find that felt like it was pulled straight from an adventure novel. They weren't just standing on a forgotten outpost, they were standing on top of a monster. The first clue was a wall, but this wasn't just any wall. As the team carefully brushed away centuries of accumulated earth, the stone structure just kept going down, deeper and deeper. And it wasn't just deep, it was thick, impossibly thick. To understand why anyone would build such a colossal fortress, you have to transport yourself back in time. Back to the era of the Crusades. This was a period of intense, brutal conflict, a clash of civilizations, faith, power, survival. The Crusaders, knight soldiers from Western Europe, had traveled thousands of miles to the Holy Land. They were a hostile force in a foreign land, vastly outnumbered, surrounded by powerful enemies. For them, survival wasn't just a matter of winning battles, it was about holding on to the territory they had conquered, inch by bloody inch. Their castles weren't just homes, they were their lifelines, their shields against a hostile world. This particular fortress was built with one purpose in mind: absolute dominance. Its location was no accident. It sat astride a critical trade route, a strategic choke point that controlled the flow of goods armies' information. Whoever held this fortress held the keys to the entire region. For the Crusaders, it was a symbol of their strength and their determination to stay. For their enemies, it was a stone dagger pointed at their heart, a constant reminder of the foreign invaders. Building it was an incredible feat of engineering and logistics, requiring a massive amount of manpower resources and, most importantly, an unshakable will to impose their presence on the land. As the archaeologists ventured deeper, the fortress began to reveal its most astonishing secrets. This was no ordinary castle with a simple keep and courtyard. This was a labyrinth. The staircase they had discovered in the courtyard was just the beginning. It led down into a complex network of tunnels carved directly out of the bedrock. These weren't rough-hewn escape routes, they were sophisticated, well-ventilated corridors that connected different parts of the fortress. A garrison could move troops from one side of the castle to the other, completely unseen from the outside. They could launch surprise counterattacks, popping up where the enemy least expected them. This underground network was a city beneath the city. The tunnels opened up into vast, cavernous rooms that served as barracks, stables, enormous storage chambers. The builders understood that a fortress was only as strong as its supplies. During a long siege, an army starves. But this fortress was designed to outlast any siege. The archaeologists found massive cisterns for water storage, and granaries capable of holding enough food to feed hundreds of men for months, possibly even years. It was a self-contained world built to withstand the apocalypse. The sheer scale of the underground logistics was mind-boggling and showed a level of planning that was far ahead of its time. But the tunnels held more than just supplies. They were a key part of the fortress's defense. At strategic points, the team found hidden sally ports. From these hidden exits, knights on horseback could charge out, smash into the flank of a besieging army. The story of this mighty fortress, like all great epics, has a final tragic chapter. As the archaeologists excavated the upper levels and the main gatehouse, the evidence of a cataclysmic battle was everywhere. The story of its fall was not written in manuscripts but in scars left on the stone itself. The outer walls were pockmarked with impacts from massive siege engines. They found mangonel stones, but these were of a different type of rock, a relentless, percussive rain of destruction that must have shaken the very foundations of the stronghold. The main gate, the fortress's most heavily fortified point, had been the focus of an inferno. The team found thick layers of ash and charcoal. The stones around the gateway were scorched black and had begun to vitrify, meaning they had been subjected to an intense, prolonged heat that started to melt the rock itself. This wasn't a simple fire. It was a deliberate, sustained assault, likely using siege towers and torrents of flammable material like naphtha. You could almost hear the desperate screams of the defenders and the roar of the flames as the fortress's strongest point was turned into a furnace. Inside the courtyard, the signs of battle were even more personal. The discovery of this lost super fortress is more than just an exciting adventure story. It's a profound window into our shared past, and its echoes resonate strongly in our modern world. On one level, it's a masterclass in history and engineering. It forces us to revise our understanding of medieval military capabilities. The sophisticated design, the extensive tunneling, the meticulous logistical planning. It reminds us that our ancestors were not primitive, but were intelligent, adaptable, and capable of incredible feats of strategy and construction. Ultimately, the discovery is a story of survival and legacy. The fortress survived for centuries, a bastion against all odds. Even after its violent destruction, its secrets survived, hidden in the earth, waiting to be found.